How do y'all? Tables here. Long time no see. Took a bit of a hiatus. Getting ready for the start of the 3.21 Crucible League, which personally I'm super excited about it. And I have a few builds to share with you guys over the next couple of days. I wanna preface POB is not currently updated. I'm not gonna mess around with dev mode. The masteries are not gonna affect us too much, other than a little bit of some slower leveling in the beginning, especially for our arc build. We've already done a video previously on the in-game version. This is going to be focusing on my league start version, where you can kind of get everything, the process, full note section. So there will be 2 POBs for this video. Let's hop right in. First things first, I want to go over our configuration, and I want to do this so you guys understand where these numbers are coming from, why they're low, why they're high, things of that nature. Everything here, bandits, Act 10 penalty. You could honestly switch this to Solaris and or Lunaris. I think either one of those will work. I kind of tend to run Lunaris personally. We are running power charges and then nothing else. Just make sure that you have, crit recently in case you want to do some other options, and it'll show up. I tend to run. I tend to I try not to inflate my numbers in POB, so I don't typically have convergence on, but we are on Guardian Pinnacle, and we're at about 2.4 million, or almost 2.5 million DPS with no Sigil of Power stages. You get that ramped up, it's going to give us about 1 million DPS, which is part of the reason why we ended up putting Sigil of Power in the league starter, because Arc honestly does need, it needs a real good support foundation as a skill for single target. Now that change once it establishes that, and then we can scale from that. But early on, it can be a bit tough for Arc to really reach the numbers that say, Crackling Lamps can get. But also at the same time, we're gonna clear incredibly well. We are running Hypothermia because we're running Herald of Ice, so we have Chilled. We can take off Frozen because they may or may not be Shocked, and then Effective Shock. POB is going to calculate this to whatever the highest it can be. We're not running Shaper of Storms, so we're really probably not going to be hitting max shock effect, which is 50. And we're certainly not going to be hitting 65. Beyond that, if you're wanting to see where your power's at with Sigil of Power, just click the plus here. It can go up to 4 stages max. Make sure your exposure is on Lightning, and then you can switch between Standard, Guardian, and no boss, kind of like just pure map DPS. So we're at about 3.5. Excuse me, without convergence, 2.7. Which is more than enough to get us into maps and get us rocking and get us rolling. This is assuming that we have Valark, which eventually we will, because I'm going to recommend everyone level up, 6 or 7 arcs in their weapon swaps. Now here is our starter tree. I will be cutting this into essentially 3 sections to try and make it a little bit easier on people using the build. And so we'll have 3 sections with 3 ascendancies. We're heavily relying on crit, kind of throwing in like just real generic stuff, any kind of raw stats, all res, crit, max health, things of that nature. We are picking up Deep Thoughts. It's just technically a level 91 tree, because we are going to be getting this right here as a mastery, which is why it's in the custom modifier section. 15%, that should be exactly where it's at come the POB update. So like I said, technically a level 91 tree. So you'll come through here, you're gonna get a mix of all res, raw stats, mana, like Lord of the Dead and minion damage. Obviously we will not take until we get our spiritual aid, but we do take advantage of easy damage. Like this node right here, this is massive for us. This is just straight up 30% raw damage, plus cast speed, plus raw stats. It's really, really nice. And then we just kind of mosey our way around into the Templar area of the tree. Be sure to pick up agility and or strength nodes if you need them along the way as you level. But as you can see, we got a bunch of crit here, quite a bit of crit here. We have our staff crit nodes here and here. We got another little bit of crit there. And then the rest of our crit is supplemented from our gear and or our gems. Heart of Thunder Anoint. I want to talk about Ascendencies for a quick second. My specific order that I like to go Legion of the Primordial, into Elementalist, into Mastermind of Discord. If you really wanted to, and you wanted to forego a little bit of the Golem side of this build, you could go Convergence in Act 10, and then save Elementalist for your Uber Lab. It might be the way to go. I feel like it kind of depends on where your character's at the current moment. I guess I would say, if you feel like you need more bossing damage, then I really don't think it's a big deal to go Heart of Destruction. If you're feeling pretty good on that front, then just go Elementalist and save this for your Uber. I really don't think you can go wrong either way. I'm going to leave that up to kind of a personal choice. So yeah, that's the skill tree. I'll have it broken down before League Start hits. But for now, we just have the one single starter tree. Our items, as soon as you can, and depending on how strong the weapon from the League mechanic is, I really would recommend going with this unique lightning staff. They're going to be insanely cheap. The rest of our gear is quite literally life and resistances. We got our primordial chain, a Zeri's flask, and an anima stone. So nothing too crazy. Some of these, especially the anima stone, are probably going to be very expensive on League Start, but they are required for the build, which is why I tried to make the other uniques not quite as bad, right? So this is really your big one. Everything else, pretty cut and dry, real basic stats. And then eventually, you're going to be overcapped on res as it is. And then you can kind of more or less make the switch at a certain point to the Annihilating Staff, get your cluster set up, and put some whatever jewels in there until you can find your Megalomaniacs for the in-game build. Now, our scales are more or less going to be somewhat the same as our in-game, save for we do not use Sigil of Power in the in-game build, and we use a couple of different gems, for our Val Arc setup in the in-game build. This whole setup more or less stays the same. I'm not sold on Arcane Surge being cast speed instead of spell damage, but it may end up working out. We may end up keeping it. If not, this is most likely going to get changed with Ice Bite support, just for a better mapping feel, so we can get frenzy charges and stuff like that, since we are running hypothermia. Now, as far as this goes, can eventually save yourself a gem slot here, Wave of Conviction, if you could eventually get lightning exposure on hit on your gloves. And so that is nice. It frees up a little bit of socket. You don't have as much socket pressure. But all of this stuff, this is without quality. This is just level 20 stuff, run-of-the-mill stuff. Here's all of our golems and our culling strike. And that's it. It's a really simple and straightforward build. You can't really mess it up. You can't really do anything wrong. It is not the most squishy character. I will give you that. I'm going to be straight up real with you guys. This is not an insanely tanky character. The end game is considerably more tanky than this one is, but it's end game. We have investment, right? So that kind of makes sense. But you just be aware that you might can tank a hit, but you're not going to take very many more after that. So I just want you guys to be aware, and I want you guys to understand that this is not designed to be an incredibly tanky build. This is designed in its eventuality to clear insanely fast. That's it. That's the build. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do have any questions, or if you notice that something was off, or you just want to comment and say hi, I would love to hear from you. I appreciate you guys checking out this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like and subscribe button, all that good stuff, and I will see you not only in 3.21, but I will see you guys in the next video, which is our Summon Raging Spirit League Starter And I've almost got that set up for you guys, so I will see y'all then. Y'all be good. Take care of yourselves. Have a good weekend.